Jamar, Chase, and T. Higgins are done. So what's next? Well, all eyes, all focus goes to Trey Hendrickson. Let's break down the latest on the defensive end and why it might not be as simple as it was to get Jamar and T done. That and much, much more right now on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into CBT. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, join the 54,000 plus Bengals fans that have subscribed on YouTube. But make sure you check us out on Apple, on Spotify, on Amazon. Take Cincinnati Bengals Talk with you on the go. Today's video brought to you by BetUS. And let's dive into Trey Hendrickson. What's next with Trey Hendrickson? Because you're seeing all of these reports now that Jamar Chase is done, that T. Higgins is done. By the way, news that you got here first on Cincinnati Bengals Talk and BengalsTalk.com on Saturday. Obviously, the report was confirmed on Sunday. And, well, the Bengals have two really highly paid receivers that are going to be here for a long, long time. And we're going to have plenty of time to talk about them. But I know a lot of you are thinking, what's next? Well, naturally, Trey Hendrickson is next. What's going to happen with Trey Hendrickson? Is he going to get traded? Yes, he still has the permission to seek a trade. Yes, there have been teams that have made offers, but are those offers serious enough for the Bengals to consider dealing the NFL sack leader? Would they be willing to figure it out and get a deal done? You've seen some smoke today for sure from different NFL insiders that, yeah, the Bengals are hoping to ramp this up. And that does make sense. Here's why it makes sense. And this is complicated and complex, and so this is going to take a few minutes. So let's dive in. It makes sense because the Bengals freed up more cap space. We don't know exactly how much, but with the T. Higgins and Jamar Chase deals, that clears up some cap space. Jamar was set to have nearly a $22 million cap hit. T. Higgins had over a $26 million cap hit. Those drop. It gives the Bengals more time, or more space rather, to give Trey Hendrickson and fit Trey Hendrickson under the salary cap and still add to their team. We know they need a starting guard. We know they could use another pass rusher. Hell, I've been on the case, and I've made the case all offseason long, get two starting guards, and we'll see if they do that. But they certainly need one after releasing Alex Kappa earlier this month. So we can all agree there. But what does it mean for Trey? And this is where it gets interesting, because I've been in the, all right, well, offer Trey, like at the combine, I was saying offer Trey two for $56, $28 million per year. And then the Max Crosby deal happens. And then the Myles Garrett deal happens. And the market shifts a little bit. And so there are a couple of factors here. The first thing is the cap space. There's more cap space, which is good because Trey Hendrickson's cap hit is going to likely go up when they give him more money here, and if they are going to give him a long-term extension. Let's say they followed my path, and instead of $28 million per, they got to $30 million per, $32 million per year, and they offer him a 2-year, $64 million extension. Well, he's due $16 million this year, which means it's 3 for $80. Is that enough for him? Well, it's probably close, but there are a couple of factors there. One of which, if you're the Bengals, well, he has over a $2 million cap hit. So it's not in your books, it wouldn't be 3 for 80. It'd be 3 for 82. You have to keep that into consideration and take that into consideration. That $2 million certainly does matter. The other element here is how high do you need to go for Trey to feel comfortable? And two, are you going to be able to give him enough cash flow and yet structure the deal in a way that you're comfortable and he's comfortable? And that's the key. And there are a few other factors here as well that I want to get into. And it has to do with what they did with Jamar. It has to do with what they did with T. Higgins. And doing that certainly impacts what could happen with Trey, what Trey could ask for. I'll get to that coming up next. Today's video is brought to you by BetUS. Make sure you get to BetUS.com. Use code YouTube150. You'll get a 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. That's more money to use on, well, March. It's bracket time. And yeah, you can get in on all of the fun, whether you think that Xavier is going to handle business against Texas in the first 4 in Dayton and go, who knows, make a run. I would certainly love to see Xavier make a run. And this is coming from a University of Cincinnati grad, or any of the other teams that maybe you're bullish on. I know Rick Pitino's St. John's Red Storm have really captured people by storm, pun intended. Get in on all of the fun by going to betus.com. Use code YouTube150 and you'll get a 150% bonus on your first deposit. Again, that's code YouTube150 at betus.com. The other factor here when looking at Trey Hendrickson is the guaranteed money. Ja'Marr Chase got guaranteed money, 112 fully guaranteed, and that beat Justin Jefferson. They broke precedent for Joe Burrow, obviously. 2 years ago, they break precedent for Ja'Marr Chase, and now they break precedent for T. Higgins, guaranteeing his second season. And he's under contract for the next 4 years now. Guaranteed money in year one, guaranteed money in year two. The Bengals just don't do that. They don't give guaranteed money in year two. They didn't do that with Trey Hendrickson the way they structured it. I got initially when they signed him to that 4-year, $60 million deal, which seems like a lifetime ago in 2021. They didn't do that with, I'll just give you a recent example, BJ Hill or Mike Gesicki. Now, it can be a strong calendar year cash flow, calendar year being a year from the signing, right? Like Mike Gesicki's getting like $12 million in the first year of his contract, like full year, 365 days from when he signed. But part of that is the roster bonus for in that second season. The same thing goes with Trey Hendrickson with his deal. And I don't want to get too much into the weeds here, but the point is Trey Hendrickson's going to want guaranteed money in year two of this extension. He's going to want cash flow and guaranteed money because he saw the other two stars get it, and so he's going to ask for it too. And that's why the Bengals, everyone talked about cash being a cash poor team. No, the reason why they did deals the way they did is because the precedent was the precedent, and they negotiated that way all throughout free agency. But the NFL is changing. It's evolving. If you want to re-sign Joe Burrow and Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins, you're going to have to do that. It's why they never had a shot at retaining Jesse Bates. It's because of the guarantees. Guaranteed money matters, and Trey Hendrickson's going to want it. Will the Bengals be able to give him either enough up front to get it done, which they've done in the past with guys? Orlando Brown Jr. is a good example. Or will they be able to go the guaranteed route, and will they be willing to go the guaranteed route with Trey Hendrickson? I think that's a big hang-up or potential hang-up. So how the Bengals make this work, I would say you're probably in, if they want to go this route, and I don't think a trade is imminent, and I don't want to say never on a trade, but I just don't think that's going to happen at this point. So how do they get back to the table and make it work? Well, I would say 2 for $64 on the surface does make sense. Does it have strong enough year one cash flow to get Trey paid, to get him feeling happy about the contract and content about where it is, considering where the market is? Because they're not going to make him higher paid than Max Crosby. They're not going to give him the Myles Garrett deal, of course. He is under contract. So can they give him enough cash flow and guaranteed money, or cash flow and length of the deal, all of those things? Can that happen? Trey's already talked on record. He did on-camera interviews, right, during Super Bowl. He wants that security. He said that, his words. Well, think of security. Years-wise, when he was at Radio Row, he's talking about that. He's talking about years and guaranteed money. And now the Bengals broke precedent, and we knew they would do it for Ja'Marr. They had to, no choice. Did it for T as well. Trey's certainly going to want that security as well. We'll see if the Bengals can get it done. I don't think it's imminent. These things can change in a hurry. I see the national reports. I wanted to update you on why this is more complicated than just getting it done. This could draw out a little bit longer. Maybe not. Maybe it gets done. Maybe there's an emergency show that we're doing tonight. You never know. Things can come together quickly. But I also could see this taking some time to iron out. I do think the Bengals are looking in the mirror now. And after getting these deals done, after freeing up some cap space, it feels like they're prepared to make another run at Trey Hendrickson and keeping him in stripes in 2025 and beyond. We'll see if they get it done. If and when, we certainly are going to have you covered right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. So please, please, please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. Today's video brought to you by BetUS. Also, make sure you check out our live stream that we did on Sunday night. It was me, it was Andrew Fox Miller, it was Jake Lisco. Instant reaction to T. Higgins and Ja'Marr Chase's contracts. We're going to have a ton for you all week long, and never a dull moment. Ja'Marr, sounds like Tuesday's going to be the day where they sign on the dotted line. When they do, you will hear from us, and you will see that exact moment right here on CBT, and you'll hear it as well. That's the beauty of the audio. For Andrew Fox Miller, I'm James Rapien. Thank you so much for listening and watching to Cincinnati Bengals Talk.